This is Valley News Live at 5.
Good afternoon, everyone. Many people in the community speaking up today, taking a stand against mask mandates for schools in our area. The anti-mask movement is continuing right now as North Dakota State University students are rallying against the mandate on campus. Valley News Team's Nishay Taylor joins us live now with details. Nishay?
Yeah, Mike, right now the anti-mask rally is just getting started. There are just a few folks here right now, and we're expecting many more to show up. Right now, I'm joined with Brianna. I was supposed to be speaking with Carter, but he's a little busy right now, so we're here with Brianna. Brianna, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. So first thing, tell me, why is it so important for you guys to be out here today?
It's really important for us to be out here today because all of us students believe in personal liberty and freedom, and that's really what we want to drive home to the university, that we as adults should get the decision to wear a mask or not.
Okay, I know it was mentioned that, you guys aren't saying that folks shouldn't have to wear masks, but you are also championing saying that, if they want to, they can.
Absolutely. We live in a free country. That's what America is all about, is freedom. And so we want people to be able to choose whether they want to wear a mask or not. If you want to wear one, fantastic. If you don't, fantastic. That's what we're really driving home here. We just want the choice.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Brianna, for joining us. Okay, so this group of individuals, they will be marching around campus. They're expected to stop in front of the president's home here on campus. We'll have much more on this story as it develops. I'm Nishay Taylor, live in North Fargo, Valley News Live.
Thanks, Nishay. This morning over in Moorhead, parents expressed their concerns on a mask requirement inside district buildings. About a dozen parents showing up on this first day of school with signs asking for the mask mandate to be dropped.
We are supporting freedom. The government has taken too much control over our choices, and so we're here to stand for freedom, that you should have your own health care choices, not the government.
The Moorhead School District says disciplinary action will be taken against students and staff who refuse to wear a mask. Meanwhile, enrollment on this first day of school for Moorhead totaled more than 7,300 students. That's in grades K through 12. It's 183 more students than last year. Superintendent Brandon Lunick says that they're pleased to welcome students back in person this fall. He says they've learned through the pandemic that students learn best in the classroom. Some parents in Fargo were also out this morning outside of Carl Ben Eielson Middle School, showing their opposition to masks. Fargo Public Schools was the first district in our area to require masks in their buildings. Signs there today read, "Unmask our kids," and "Let parents decide that." Weather-wise, a beautiful day across the Red River Valley, mostly blue skies with only a few clouds here and there. Valley News Live's meteorologist Nathan Hopper is here now with more on what's happening right now. Nathan?
Yeah, Mike, you hit the nail on the head this Monday. Beautiful conditions, comfortable temperatures, low humidity. A live look at our Luther Family Forward Skycam does show a few of those clouds here or there, but by and large, traffic moving along nicely. Have the sunglasses handy if you are planning to drive, especially westbound, as I do expect mainly clear skies to continue for this evening. Satellite and radar does show a few more intense storms. In fact, some severe storms there along the I-94 corridor. Maybe seeing a few raindrops there in the Jamestown area. That's just with some remnant moisture blowing off away from these severe storms here. Notice how there's 4 severe storms there in the Bismarck area with large hail, 2-inch hail there expected in the Flasher area with that storm in Grant and Morton counties. So some intense storms. I don't expect these to impact our neck of the woods. I expect all that severe impactful weather to be to our west. In Fargo, you can see a few clouds though hang on for this evening. By midnight or so, cooling into the middle 60s, eventually seeing some lower 60s there as we head toward the 3 o'clock hour tomorrow morning. In Grand Forks, expecting plenty of clear sky. But look at those temperatures there by midnight, near 60 by midnight. It's a beautiful evening, a windows open kind of night, but we are tracking, Mike, some changes. A first alert weather day has been raised for Thursday. We'll break this all down in more detail in a few minutes.
All right, we'll enjoy what we have now.
Yeah.
Thanks. Search and rescue efforts are underway after Hurricane Ida roared ashore along the Louisiana coast Sunday as a powerful Category 4 storm. Destruction is said to be widespread. More than 1 million people are without power. So far, 1 person is confirmed dead, but officials warn that death toll is expected to climb as search and rescue teams reach the hardest hit areas. Liz McLaughlin reports from New Orleans.
A massive search and rescue operation is underway a day after Hurricane Ida slammed into the coast of Louisiana.
I think the damage is catastrophic. It's the worst that I've seen in the 20 years that I've been in the parish, and we've seen several hurricanes.
The deadly Category 4 storm packing 150-mile-per-hour sustained winds and dangerous storm surge.
It was pretty scary. It was pretty scary.
Across the strike zone, the damage is massive. Residents describing the chaos as trees crashed into homes.
And I really didn't have any time to react. And, just the ceiling came crashing down.
Those in low-lying areas retreating to upper floors and attics to escape the rising water.
Then it just progressively got worse till it was ankles, knees, almost chest level. So we just put the dogs on the counters and then we climbed into the attic.
Making a bad situation worse, Ida's destructive wind and rain hovered over the state.
Not only was this a Category 4 storm, but it stayed a Category 4 storm for hours over southern parts of Louisiana.
In New Orleans, a sudden rush of water stranding people in their vehicles overnight as rescuers rushed in.
Man, it was hectic. They had people crying, you had people fainting out there. Some people just haven't seen nothing like that before.
Dangerous and destructive, Ida's impact being felt across the region. Liz McLaughlin, NBC News, New Orleans.
16 staff members and volunteers from the Minnesota-Dakotas region of the Red Cross have been sent to help those impacted by Hurricane Ida. People living in Barnesville are free to use water again as the boil water advisory has now been lifted. That advisory was issued yesterday after lightning struck a high service pump, causing the town's water system to shut down. Newly released court documents are shedding light on the arrest of a Cass County Sheriff's deputy at a Fargo car wash earlier this month. They indicate that Jacob Danielson's blood alcohol test showed that he was 0.153 at the time of the crash. That's nearly twice the legal driving limit. Documents say that Danielson stated he was drinking at a local bar prior to picking up his children from daycare. The children were in the vehicle at the time of the crash. It happened on August 2nd. Officers were called to Custom Express Car Wash off of 32nd Avenue South in Fargo on the report of a drunk driver. A witness told officers he was waiting in line at the car wash when his vehicle was hit from behind. Danielson is charged with one Class A misdemeanor count of DUI with a minor present. 5 felony charges have been filed against 32-year-old Latoya Azure of Grand Forks. Authorities say that Azure broke into a city building in Dunseith last week and assaulted a police officer and a Rolette County correctional officer. Investigators say Azure also spit on the corrections officer. The man convicted of killing University of Iowa student Molly Tibbetts will spend the rest of his life in prison. A judge handed down that sentence today to Christian Rivera. The 27-year-old former farmhand was convicted of first-degree murder in the mid-July death of Tibbetts. Tibbetts disappeared while out on a run. Rivera led investigators to her body a month later. The Minnesota Board of Animal Health says a 3-year-old quarter horse filly in Wadena County has tested positive for West Nile virus. This happened last week. A veterinarian was called in because the horse could not stand on its rear legs. The vet says that the horse appears to be recovering and was not up to date on its vaccination boosters. An additional 15 horses at the same location were given booster shots. The United States has now completed its withdrawal from Afghanistan, ending America's longest war and closing a chapter in military history, hours ahead of President Joe Biden's Tuesday deadline for shutting down a final airlift. Alice Barr has the latest.
I turn it over to you, sir.
Tonight, an ending to America's longest war.
I'm here to announce the completion of our withdrawal from Afghanistan and the end of the military mission to evacuate American citizens, third country nationals, and vulnerable Afghans.
In the treacherous final hours on the ground, the window closed for evacuating Afghan civilians as the focus shifted to getting U.S. troops and critical equipment out, all under the looming threat of more terror strikes. The U.S. military says its anti-missile systems thwarted an attack aimed at the Kabul airport overnight. ISIS militants believed to have launched at least 5 rockets. There are no reported casualties. That after the U.S. military says its own drone strike hit an ISIS car bomb heading to the airport. Military leaders say they're investigating reports civilians may have been killed in the explosion.
Make no mistake, no military on the face of the earth works harder to avoid civilian casualties than the United States military.
It comes after last week's horrific ISIS suicide bombing at an airport gate killed roughly 200 Afghans and 13 U.S. service members. President Biden paying his respects to the fallen at Dover Air Force Base over the weekend as 13 families grieve a devastating loss.
It's going to be hard to go on without him. But we know that he died doing exactly what he wanted to do. He went out his way.
A dangerous mission now over with the end of the 20-year war in Afghanistan. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Meanwhile, 18 U.S. troops who were injured in last week's suicide attack outside of Kabul's airport are receiving medical care in Germany. On the coronavirus front today, for the first time since the winter, the U.S. has reached 100,000 hospitalizations for coronavirus, an increase of nearly 500% in the just past 2 months that have gone by. Hospitals are struggling to keep up with the caseload, especially in the South as the Delta variant spreads. The U.S. Department of Education announcing it's investigating 5 states with universal mask bans. Nationwide, we're told that 180,000 children tested positive during the week of August 12th.
Ultimately, we're just trying to stand with the parents. A lot of parents, they know their kid in terms of the health. Parents' Bill of Rights has said this is your right here.
The European Union recommended today that its 27 nations reinstate restrictions on American tourists because of rising coronavirus infections in the U.S. The decision by the European Council to remove the U.S. from a safe list of countries for non-essential travel reverses advice that it gave in June. The United States has yet to reopen its own borders to EU tourists. New research shows certain antibodies can reduce the risk of hospitalizations among some COVID-19 patients. More details on that later on Valley News Live at 5.
And things are looking good at the bus stop for tomorrow. 60s for that sunny start off to school on your Tuesday. Then on the way home, expect temperatures to be warm. 70s and 80s for those temperatures at the afternoon bus stop. But of course, we'll break down what to expect for the rest of the week next.